So, of course, we all know that the USMNT has a very busy schedule for the year of 2021. Not as busy now because we're out of the Olympics. So, because we like to suffer. But anyway, nonetheless, we still have a lot of things to look forward to. We got the Gold Cup, Nations League, World Cup qualifiers, and maybe a couple friendlies in there. Who knows? But nonetheless, a very busy schedule. So we're gonna need a good, deep depth chart to get us through all of these important tournaments and all of these crazy games we're gonna have stored coming up this year. And to do that, we need to go through and see what kind of players will make the senior squad for the USMNT. So I think, in my opinion, this is the legit, or at least for the most part, a good full USMNT depth chart. And I want to go through it with you guys, and I want you guys to let me know your thoughts on my depth chart here, the complete depth chart for the USMNT. So without further ado, let's just get a brew with Drew.
What's up? Welcome to a brew with Drew. Today we're drinking Treehouse's Beginner's Mind. First impressions on the can, obviously, it looks like, well, it's gold, but it's fucking awesome. It makes me feel prestigious drinking it. Beginner's Mind is an 8.2%, a double IPA ABV. Treehouse is one known from Massachusetts, one of the best breweries in combining tropical, well-balanced flavors. Let's see how it pours. Oh, man. I already poured some of it before, but that's for dramatic effect. Look at it. Nice color. It's thick. It looks creamy. Let's just fucking drink it. That's straight 4.5 out of 5 on my Untappd. I'll leave it down below so you guys can find out where to find me and my beer ratings. Tropical, citrusy flavor, nice orange juice type. It's delicious. It's pure delicious. Treehouse, love you, baby.
Okay, got my drink there, ready to go. Hope you guys liked it. Some of you guys have requested I do a little fun beer review here on the channel. If you liked it, let me know down below. We'll keep it going. A Brew with Drew mini segment here on the channel. But for now, let's talk about the full USMNT depth chart. What does that really look like? Obviously, we're going to start with the goalkeeper section first. But before we do, just a quick tip for you guys. The players I put on here on this depth chart are players that I see making appearances and making rosters and camps for the senior USMNT squad. Now, there are going to be some guys from the Olympics Olympic qualifiers that we did see play that I think have potential. And I think we could see at least sometime this year along the line in either roster or training camp with the USMNT squad, senior squad. But for right now, these are the guys. Let me know what you think. Obviously, this could change, later on this year. There could be a guy playing crazy for his club right now, and then later on he kind of falls off and he won't get onto the squad. But if that's the case, we're in the future, and if I'm in the future, hope you guys are still here. All right, so starting off with the goalkeepers in alphabetical order and not ranking order. That's going to be a different video, so be sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Chituro Odunze, David Ochoa, Ethan Horvath, Matt Turner, and of course my boy Zach Steffen, who I think is still the #1 goalkeeper choice for the USA senior squad. You guys cannot change my mind otherwise. Of course, Ethan Horvath and Matt Turner are up there pushing him for that starting spot, but he is barely getting pushed by these guys. I think he is the undisputed right now. Ethan Horvath really not getting too much game time at club level. Matt Turner, I want to see another good season from him in MLS before I decide to make him my #2. But for right now, it's Ethan Horvath. David Ochoa, though, I think had a pretty decent Olympic qualifier run with the USA youth squad. I liked what I saw from what I've seen from him in those games, and I expect to see him called up to at least the senior squad coming up. At least I hope to see him be called up. And of course, Chituro Odunze has been called up to rosters by the USMNT and Greg Berhalter, but he has not really played a minute yet under Greg Berhalter. But I do expect him to see him called up to some sort of roster along the line this year. So that's why he's there. On to the fullbacks now. It gets a little more deeper there. We've got, of course, Brian Reynolds, DeAndre Yedlin, Joe Scally, Julian Arau, Kyle Duncan, Reggie Cannon, and Sergino Dest. Sergino Dest, obviously the #1 right back choice for me. Brian Reynolds, of course, we hold that whole transfer saga. He just made an appearance finally for Roma. That's going to be good to see and track him. DeAndre Yedlin, a player that a lot of people have kind of written off. I myself have as well. But as of recently, and once joining Galatasaray, he's been doing good. He scored a goal or something a couple weeks ago, playing well, being a starter there. He looks good. He looks like he's hungry again for the game. I like that. I think he is my #2 behind Sergino Dest. I need to see more from Reggie Cannon before I decide to make him over DeAndre Yedlin. Kyle Duncan, like I said, I got to see more of him, but I do expect to see him somewhere along the lines this year in the roster, in the mix somewhere, just like Joel Scally and Julian Arau. And at left back, you can see the difference there that we don't have a big depth in left back position. We've got Anthony Robinson, George Bello, and Sam Vines. Now, of course, the 3 left backs we have, one of them is playing in Europe, 2 of them are playing in MLS. But I think George Bello and Sam Vines both have good potential. Maybe George Bello a little more than Sam Vines for some people. I guess I'm in that camp as well, but I do rate Sam Vines well enough to see him make some kind of senior squad roster along this year. Anthony Robinson, for me, the starter left back, no question about that. Of course, Sergio Dest and I think Kyle Duncan can also play as left back for the USMT if need be, but I would much prefer to see Robinson as a left and Dest as the right. So that's that for the fullback position. Let's go on now to the middle of the defense, the center backs. This is where it gets a little bit crazier as well and deeper. Aaron Long, Chris Richards, Eric Palmer-Brown, John Brooks, Mark McKenzie, Matt Miazga, Miles Robinson, and of course, Tim Ream. Now, Tim Ream is a guy that I think that we're going to see a lot more of this year. He's going to be called up regardless. I don't care if you guys, you don't hate him. He's too old or whatever. We don't need that veteran status, but Greg Berhalter sees it differently, and he likes to have him in the camp. Especially now playing with the back 3, he is considered to me as a center back. USA might be leaning towards playing up with 3 at the back. So if that's the case, like I said, he will be considered as a center, as a defender in that lineup. Of course, John Brooks is our main starter. No doubt about that. No one is going to take that spot away from him yet. It's all about who's going to play alongside Brooks. You got, of course, Chris Richards, Aaron Long, another player that's probably we're going to see a lot of this year, to the dismay of a lot of you USA soccer fans out there. But, I would much rather see, of course, Matt Miazga and Mark McKenzie in place of him. And I want to see Eric Palmer-Brown a little bit too. He's been playing well for his club recently. Chris Richards, of course, another guy we've been tracking on loan from Bayern to Hoffenheim, where he really got to show his skills there to us USA soccer fans. I want to see more from Chris Richards. Actually, I expect to see him starting alongside John Brooks sometime this year. I want to see how that partnership molds into, okay? Center mids. This is, again, the higher up we go along the field, the more players we see, the more exciting player and talent we see. And I love the center midfielders here. This is going to be your 6s, your holding midfielders, your center midfielders, whatever it need be. We've got Chris Durkin, Gianluca Buzio, Jackson Ewell, Johnny Cardoso, Luca De La Torre, Kellen Acosta, Owen Asawi, Tanner Tessman, Tyler Adams, and of course, Weston McKennie. Now, the last 2, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, obviously, they are going to be our main starters if we have a full roster. No doubt about that. No one's taking their places. I think we've seen recently with the senior squad, with these 2 friendlies against Jamaica and Northern Ireland, that we do need that 6 in midfield, and Tyler Adams is our number 1 6. He's never going to be replaced by anybody. Just his talent, his work rate, he's a freaking engine. His skill is just, he is our main guy, and I love that. He's a leader as well, which is awesome to control the midfield back there in front of the defense. Of course, I did put some youngsters here like Jackson Ewell, Johnny Cardoso, Tanner Tessman. I think Tanner Tessman, from what I've seen in the Olympics, I think if he had more opportunity, more minutes, things could have played out differently. I liked what I saw from Tanner Tessman. I think he's going to be a good prospect to have. I expect to see him at the senior level sometime this year. Same thing with Johnny Cardoso and Jackson Ewell. I think Jackson Ewell has already had senior minutes, so nothing too surprising there. I do expect a good breakout season for Buzio from Sporting Kansas City in MLS. I expect to see him somewhere along the lines of senior camp. At least I want to see him play along the lines. Chris Durkin as well. I think he's been doing he's kind of under the radar there in Europe, but if he keeps playing well, I think he will make some kind of appearance as well. Luca De La Torre, another guy who just recently came back into the mix. He kind of won some fans over most recently in his last 2 friendlies. So, and of course, we got Kellen Acosta here, who a lot of people just are confused as to why he's still in the mix. And your boy Drew is also confused as well as to why he's been called up so much recently. But he did give him credit. He did play good against Jamaica. He, not as good as Tyler Adams, but good enough to be like, all right, you played a good game, but that's enough. So let's go over now to still in midfield, but the attacking midfielders. Again, it gets more exciting. Let's see. Brendan Aronson, Caden Clark, Dwayne Holmes, Jesus Ferreira, Paxton Pomacall, Richie Ledesma, Sebastian Leggett, friend of the channel, and Yunus Musa. Now, real quick, Brendan Aronson, I think it might be used more as a winger type for Berhalter. I think he does do well as a winger, so we could see him mold his positions there when he's playing for the USMNT, and I'm a fan with that. I think he looked good in his 2 recent friendlies. Jesus Ferreira, another oddball here. I don't see Ferreira as like a main striker. I know he scored a hat trick or whatever, had a hat trick of assists too against Trinidad and Tobago, but that was a team that was not ready to, like I said, it's just Trinidad and Tobago. That was like a really bad game to judge players on off of. We saw the real Jesus Ferreira in the Olympics. He was kind of flatlined as a striker, like that sole striker up there. I much rather see him play off the back of another striker or more as a center forward or a cam kind of player. Paxton Pomykal, a guy who was kind of really coming up through the ranks, had a lot of potential, had a good, youth World Cup a couple years ago with the USMNT. He was the leader there, he was a captain, had a bad injury. And I like it, just like with him and Caden Clark on this list, I expect a good, big breakout MLS season to get them on the roster somewhere at the end of the year this year. Dwayne Holmes, I think he's played for Derby County. I liked him when he came into the games. Watching him at Derby County a little bit, not too much, but I like what I see from Dwayne Holmes. I think obviously not a starter, maybe not really a backup, but I think a good player to have in a depth chart like this. I think we need another guy who's out there in Europe as well. So all you guys who are Euro fans there, that's good to have there. Richard Ledesma, again, from PSV, I expect to see a big season, big year from him this year, hopefully. And, of course, Yunus Musa just recently became officially a USMNT player. It's amazing. He's got young talent. Most likely will be played in the midfield rather than on the wings for Greg Berhalter. But whatever works for these guys, I'm a fan of. Of course, Sebastian Lletget, friend of the channel. If you're watching, dude, what's up? Of course, you say what you want about Sebastian Lletget, but he comes into the team, he performs, he scores goals, and that's really what we need. That's how you win games. He's scoring goals. Doesn't always play well, but gets the job done nonetheless. So that's it from my boy Sebastian Lletget and Yunus Musa. On to the wingers now. Now we're getting more attacking. How is this going to go and look? Here we go. As a right wing, split it up again as a right and left wings. Chris Mueller, Gio Reyna, Paul Arriola, and Ulysses Yanez. Now, Gio Reyna, we all know, is most likely going to be playing on the wings for Greg Berhalter. That we've just come to realize and understand that that's how it's going to go. If he plays well, no complaints there. Chris Mueller, I expect to see another good season, hopefully for him in MLS. He looked good with his last friendlies he had with USMNT last year. I want to see more from him like that in the USMNT, and I'm sure your boy tactical manager will like that as well. A fellow Orlando player for him. Ulysses Yanez we would have seen in the roster, but he got injured. That sucked. We really needed his talent in the Olympic qualifiers. Paul Arriola is a weird one here. I after the whole tweet debacle he had at Twitter, exposed or whatever, he really didn't play again for Swansea City, where he's on loan from DC United. So I don't know. He might be out of here later on this year. It might not be in good form. I don't know what it is, but I just had to put him on here because I still think he could be making some appearances later on this year for the USMNT senior squad. And of course, as a left wings, we've got Christian Pulisic, Jonathan Lewis, and Jordan Morris, and Connor De La Fuente. Now, Jordan Morris, again, recovering from an ACL. I don't know when he's going to come back. And if he does come back, I don't know what kind of form and position he will be in, like his body will be in. But we're going to have to wait and see. You guys know I love Jordan Morris. It was a shame what happened to him at Swansea. He really barely got any opportunity there. He finally leaves MLS and goes to test his skills abroad to really keep his name in the mix for all these towns coming up. And he barely gets any opportunity. And early on to his loan career, he gets injured. And that's it. His career over there at Swansea is over. And most of his recovery this year is going to be all recovery. Like that, it's sad. And, I really want to see Jordan Morris jump back and come back stronger. I really hope for that. Christian Pulisic, obviously the freaking starter. No doubt about that. Jonathan Lewis, disappointment for me in the Olympic qualifiers, but he probably will be called up some way, somehow later on this year at some kind of game, some kind of tournament. He's going to be in the roster somewhere because we need that depth. Am I happy about it? Not really. Okay. Connor De La Fuente, a guy I really want to see replace Jonathan Lewis and just get some good games, hopefully for Barca and hopefully for USMNT. I really rate this guy. I want to see more from him, hopefully this year, please, if everything goes well. As a fellow Barca fan, I trust Conrad. I see Conrad's development, his potential, and as a USMNT fan, I see the same thing. So let's just collide the two worlds finally. And finally, we're here at the strikers. Now, the strikers, it's a long list. A couple months ago, it was like a short list, but of course, we got Daryl DK, Yazzie Zardes, Jeremy Iwabise, Jordan Sabiachu, Josh Sargent, Josie Altidore, Matthew Hoppy, Nicholas Giacchini, Sebastian Soto, and Tim Weah. Of course, Josh Sargent is everyone's main pick, at least should be everyone's main pick. He played well, and he didn't really get to score too many goals these last two friendlies, but I like the way he played. Good hold-up play. Not really the main number 9 striker, but a good guy to play off another striker, which is, I think that's good as well for me. Yazi Zardes, of course, we're going to see him on the list. No matter how much you guys cry, how much I cry, we're going to see him some way, somehow along the lines this year. At least I expect to, just like with Josie Altidore. I think he's not completely out of the picture yet. He will be somewhere in the mix later on this year, somewhere, somehow. Daryl DK on loan to Barnsley from Orlando City. Killing over there, Barnsley. I really, really I'm staying on high sleep for Daryl DK. I want to see him leave Barnsley, or if he goes to the Premier League with them, stick with them and see how he can do and help them in that big competitive league. Matthew Hoppe, I've said on the channel before, if you guys don't know, I'm not really the biggest Matthew Hoppe fan. He had a handful of good games and then kind of fell off. It's not his fault. His team sucks, though. Schalke is atrocious right now. So if he were to leave and get a better club who could provide him some better technique, better balls to shoot into the goal, maybe it'll be a different story. But for me, Josh Sargent is my number 1 striker. Timothy Weah could be played on the wings as well, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him as a striker. I think he does well as a striker for his club, as also. And Sebastian Soto, young kid there who had a surprisingly disappointing Olympic qualifiers. I wanted to see. I thought there was going to be more from him there, but he kind of just fell flat. But nonetheless, I still rate the guy. All right, well, that's it. Let me know your thoughts down below, how you guys think this roster depth chart looks like. Did I miss any player that you think really needed to be on here? Or did I put a player that you really think did not need to be on here? As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for kicking it with me. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.